Now, here's one for the parents on this Friday afternoon. Does your child function best during the day? Well, Curro School in Durbanville will be offering afternoon classes from next year. Learners at Curro's Durbanville High School will be able to choose between classes that are held between 13:45, that's 1:45 in the afternoon, and 18:30, that's 6:30 in the evening. According to the school, this is part of their way of looking for new ways to reach and support our learners. Other benefits to this? Well, among other questions, let's discuss this with education specialist, Professor Mary Metcalfe. Prof, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Thank you very much for your time. I guess if you are not an early riser, an afternoon class would be suitable for you.
You know, Voyo, in Finland, they actually made the starting time for secondary schools later because they believe that the evidence shows that adolescents need more time for sleeping in the early morning. So rather than starting at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, they shifted the starting time for learners that are adolescents in secondary schools to a little bit later.
Yeah, I know that some neighboring countries have afternoon classes because of capacity. But in this way, this will be affording the learners, I understand, from grade 7 to 9 and maybe up to matric in this school, that option. And there are some benefits. What would they be?
Well, I find this initiative really interesting. I think the first thing that we need to know is that all schools, whether they're public or private, set their own hours. The only specification for all schools, but particularly public schools, is that the curriculum and assessment policy statement specifies how many hours must be spent on each subject in order to fulfill the requirements of the curriculum. Now, that's interesting because once you know how many hours of, for example, first language teaching or second language teaching or maths you need to fit in, the arrangements around how you do that are up to the school. It depends on how they construct the timetable, which teachers are teaching, when there is the decision of the school governing body about what time school should start. So any public school could, for example, decide to start at 9 in the morning, to start at 9:30 in the morning, to start at 7 in the morning, and go for as many hours as required in order to fulfill the requirements of the curriculum. However, there are matters to do with making sure that learning happens effectively. But there's also issues around alignment with transport, alignment with what's possible for teachers, alignment with what's possible for families. So we have a tradition in South Africa that schools usually start 7:30, maybe 8, usually about 7:30, that the earlier grades where there's less of a detail around, well, there's less time required for their subjects, often finish earlier. But it's not only the lessons, it's also the extramural activities, which are a very important part of school life, the sport, the arts, the culture. So when I first heard about this proposal in Durbanville, I thought what they would be doing was extending the school day to include more formally for all of the learners opportunities to be involved in art and drama and theatre and sport. The concept of it being an alternative has huge implications.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that. I'm glad you're touching on that, Prof, because it seems like this could be a school within a school.
It's a mystery to me because, as you say, you know, we have the platooning system where there's not enough spaces for learners. And what the platooning system means is you've got one group of learners coming in the morning and another group of learners coming in the afternoon. And you do that to maximize space, but then you need different teachers. It would not be reasonable to expect teachers to teach 2 sessions. Now, what Curro may be doing is maximizing their space and saying, we will get 2 sessions into a day if we have two possible time frames, but then they would need then to be able to employ the necessary teachers. Whether learners are attending morning or afternoon at secondary level is also interesting socially, because so many activities that are beyond the classroom, the extramural activities, happen in the afternoon.
The other point I just want your thoughts on, Prof, is I saw that what they are saying is that one of the requirements would be academic performance, but the learners reaching a certain academic benchmark of 60% in numeracy and literacy. That could be exclusion. I mean, that could be excluding many other kids who are below that, who might feel maybe that there are better ones who go to the afternoon than the rest of us are not that good.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is a private school, so they do have greater flexibility in terms of the section of the public that they serve. But if they're making a stipulation that there has to be a particular level of achievement to attend the afternoon classes, it may be that they are expecting more independent study in those afternoon sessions. I would love to see how the experiment unfolds and what we can learn from it.
Yeah. What do you think about the fact that they say one of the reasons they've come up with this model at Curro there in Durbanville, and I don't know where else it's going to go, is that not all learners and their families are sort of suited to the nature and character of a traditional school routine. I'm just wondering, if you're breaking that tradition, what benefits? I mean, what are your thoughts there? Could this really also be customized to benefit and suit families?
Yes, we make the assumption that all families have the capacity to adjust their schedules, their routines, their travel arrangements to get children to school in the morning. I'm having difficulty thinking which particular work requirements and which occupations it would suit families better in the afternoon. But if there are occupations where it would be more advantageous to the family to have arrange the child's life to get to school in the afternoon, this would be an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah. For you, what would be the big kind of warnings or cons of this that must be taken into account to make it work? It looks like it's an innovative way of trying to accommodate all kinds of people in the private education system. In this case, Curro, people who've got children who go to Curro. What would be big no-nos for you?
I think the big no-nos are if the children are going to be under pressure to do more work and learning than is feasible in the time in the afternoon. If the time is the same as is available in the school in the morning, then that would be great. The second thing is that I would be wanting to make sure that the children have adequate opportunities for social interaction, for playing with colleagues, playing with friends, for doing extramural activities, for having a full and rounded life. The third thing I would always want to look at is what are the implications of this for teachers? How does this fit in with their need to prepare, to have time for family, to travel? So it's impact on teachers, impact on learners, and is the learning time sufficient for the learning that's expected of the learners?
Professor Mary Metcalfe, thank you very much for your time and insights as we're reflecting on this move by the Curro School in Durbanville to introduce and offer afternoon classes from next year. Very interesting insights indeed.